Hey y'all, we back with your favorite series, Too Holy to Be Horny. But again, encouraging you all to look at the abundance playlist. Okay, there's good information there too. Okay, there's good stuff in there too. So go look at that as well. But it's your girl Jay White, and we just gonna dive right in today. Well, forget about today. Over the past couple episodes, we've been talking about living close to temptation and realizing that lust is loneliness sometimes. So today, ooh, we are going to be getting into my business about a moment where conviction kind of hit me. And this happened like last summer. And yeah, I needed to reel it back in. So, that moment kind of made everything really real for me. All right, so nothing changes your perspective like realizing your choices have consequences. And for a long time, I believed I had more control over stuff than I actually did. I thought I was being careful, I was managing the situation and I could keep dancing around the line without ever crossing it. But then, I got like directly on top of the line. I ain't never been like on top of the line, but I got on top of the line last year. And in that moment, like every excuse like kind of disappeared. I was like, oh Lord, what have I done? Ooh, I remember feeling like that. So, what we're going to be talking about specifically in this episode is the wake up call that changed my perspective, why conviction feels different when consequences become real, and then how being afraid kind of led me to that deeper honesty with God. So, before last summer, right? Like, let me take y'all down the road, okay? I would say that my sexual journey has been interesting to say the least. So, in the very, very beginning, like way back when I was 16, that's the first time I did anything that was anything. And, I got my feelings hurt at that time. And so I made a promise to God, like, I'm not going to because I had already given my first kiss away. And then I had already, like, gave something else away. I'm not telling y'all specifically what it is. Sorry, y'all just not going to know that. But, like, at that point, I was just like, okay, my virginity belongs to my husband. Like, the only one that's going to be, like, fully inside my body, that's going to be my husband. And, I remember crying at the computer desk while singing because I was home alone. And I think my dad was, like, out to sea or something. And then, like, my mom was still doing shift work at Dominion. Now she's the boss. Go, Mom. But yeah, she was still doing shift work back then. So I was at home by myself. And by then, my sister was already at VCU. So, like, it was just me. And I was just listening to music and crying out to God. I can't tell y'all how many times I did that every day when I got home. Like, I would just come home, turn on the computer, get on YouTube. And that was before YouTube had ads. And I would just sing and sing and sing and sing and sing. Like, either that or I was on the phone with my friend. And, that day I just came home and I started singing and crying out to God. And I just told him, I was like, all right, lesson learned. I'm not gonna let nobody touch me for real. Like, everything else that I've done is up for grabs, but nothing else. So yeah, that's kind of where I left it at. And then when I got to college, similar things that happened in high school happened in college. And I was like, I was still a child living off of the fairy tale that my parents fed me. Like, oh, well, your dad and I met and a week later we just got together and we've been together since, very generic thing that you tell your kids. I realize now in my adult years, that's not really what happened. And like now they've been more honest and forthcoming about the true love story. And it's just like, y'all lied to me and had me floating off to college with a dream that did not happen. Like, I'm over here thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna find the love of my life and I'll ride off into the sunset just like my parents did. That's not what happened. And so when that wasn't happening, I internalized that and I just got so like depressed. And like I said, I went through multiple phases where I would like somebody and then I would think that something's happening and then nothing would happen and then I would get upset. And then that just kept happening and happening over and over again. So I shut down one time my freshman year and I was trying to get rid of my virginity. Didn't work. And then, fast forward a couple more years, I'm even more depressed, even more sad. And then there's like stuff going on at home and then my grades ain't doing what they supposed to do. And then like some of the people around me just were draining my energy. And, back then I wasn't even aware that like energy vampires were a thing and like people were actually draining me. But like people were draining my energy and like constantly like trying to like almost like little girl me type shit. Ooh, excuse me. But, just like little girl me and like try to like suppress me and be like, oh, you're too much. You do a lot, blah, blah, blah. Like all of that. And I'm just like, you don't have to be my friend. Back up. Like, now as an adult, anybody doing that, I'll be like, move around me then. Go over there where they're not doing enough. Like, don't be over here on me because I'm that girl. But back then, I wasn't aware of all that. Like, I promise y'all, I was such a kind-hearted, sweet person. I gave everybody the benefit of the doubt. Like, I was so stupid. Like, if you are out here doing that, stop doing that. That's dumb. People know what they're doing to you, and they think you dumb. Like, real talk. They think you dumb, and you are being dumb. Slap them hoes. But anyway, yeah, sorry. It's sometimes I think back on that time because, like, I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it. Like, I should have slapped some people. Like, I really should have popped some people in the face because it turned into a powder keg later in my later years, in my later 20s, and now my fuse is gone. Like, now it's just immediate. Like, you keep playing in my face, I'm gonna punch you. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, and I should have been on that as like early 20s, teens. I should have been ready to slap people back then. I'm over here holding back, thinking I'm doing people a service. I ain't doing nobody. I'm doing myself a disservice. I should have been on people's heads and their necks like I was with the look. Because every day I wake up and I'm on a neck. I'm cute. Now, anyway. But yeah, I kept going through those phases of like dealing with people and like, you know, getting close to the line, and then like they hurt my feelings, and so then I'm like, oh, F it, I'm just gonna get rid of it all. I don't even know why I'm keeping this, blah, blah, blah. Shout out to the Lord for keeping me through. He kept me because he a real one. And we talked when I was 16 and he remembered me. And even though I didn't remember myself, he remembered me. And so he kept me good because I probably would have been so distraught if I gave myself fully to someone and they're not here anymore. And that's the main reason why I don't do it all the way, is because I know me. Like, I know my emotions. I know my capacity. I love very hard. I'm not the type to leave a person. I'm never going to do that. Like, even my ex, he had to break up with me. Now, granted, I prayed the removal prayer, but I don't care. I wasn't going to leave. Like, so he had to go. You know, he had to do that. And that's fine. I don't care. I don't mind saying I got dumped. Yup, he left me. So that way there's no confusion. If he ever try to come back, you can't, because you left and you should have stayed. Like, real what? If you messing with me, don't leave, because now you're out of here. Now you're out of there. You know, you're not coming back. So kept going through all of those phases, and that led me to where I'm at now, where I'm not gonna say I'm perfect, because we've seen throughout the first 2 episodes, I am not perfect. Like, and as far as what I do, like, I just had a homeboy come over the other night. Like, you know? So it's like, I'm not perfect, but I know what my lines are, and I'm not letting anybody, like, enter the queendom. But last summer, though, someone almost got all the way in the cut, and they almost got in the building. They was, like, in line, and I'm just like, we gotta go. I had to cut him off so fast. I had to cut him off. I was like, and he, to this day, like, he probably don't know why I stopped talking to him, but I know why. You're dangerous, and I'm good. I'm actually good. We don't need to be that close. Like, you can't be one of my little jump offs, because you be actually trying to get me caught up, and I'm not taking on your demons. 2, I'm just not, we don't need to be that close. Like, he cute and all, but he ain't that cute. So, like, at first, like, when that moment first happened, oh God, juicy mouth. Okay. When that moment first happened, like, I was scared. I was calling my friend, y'all know my friend Harold. I was calling my friend Harold, and he was like, girl, are you sure you're still and I'm like, it's still there. It's just, gateway's been opened a little bit in a way that it never has. He's like, he personally thinks I'm not, but I think I am, because I still have a cherry to pop. So I feel like I'm good, but according to him, I'm not. Whatever. We gonna leave that up for discussion. No, the discussion is not happening in the comments. I'm deleting every comment that have something to do with that, because that's not the purpose of this video. But yeah, at first when it happened, like, you know, my fear was really loud. Like, I was like, oh my God, did I break my promise? Like, what happened? What did I do? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just a lot of that. So again, I cut the dude off. Like, I just got real scared and stuff. And I was just praying so hard. And I was just thinking about what could happen, what could have happened. And like, I wasn't really concerned about what people think. I'm never really concerned about what people think. I don't care. But as far as like what mistakes I made and like the cost of it and all that stuff. So that's what I was doing. But underneath that fear, it was just a conviction. Like fear kind of got the attention, but the conviction like changed my direction with things. And so sometimes God uses that wake up call to not to condemn us, but like, you know, just to get you back on track and to be like real with yourself. So the scare kind of forced me to ask questions like, why am I living this close to the temptation? And what am I really looking for? And like, is this relationship with God worth protecting? So it really wasn't the scare that led me to the lesson. It was the lesson itself got revealed with the scare. Like the scare itself, that wasn't the lesson, but like it like revealed my mindset to me about things. So let's get into the scripture. All right. Proverbs 27:12. We going to the verbs. Where the verbs at? Proverbs. Come on, these are proverbs. Okay, actions you need to take as a pro. 376. Here we go. And chapter 27, verse what now? 12. And it says, a prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. Not the simpleton. Come on, Jesus. Romans chapter 8, verse 1 says, where the Romans at? Where the Romans at? 675. All right. Wrong. What I say? Chapter 8, verse 1. What it say over there? Oh, I remember reading this book. It says, so now there is no condemnation for those who belong to Jesus Christ. So don't let shame get you in that loop. And we'll talk more about that next week. And then Psalm chapter 139, verses 23 and 24. Do I know where the Psalms is at? It's over here by Job. Oh, wait. Yep, there it is. The Psalms is long, y'all, but that's the middle of the Bible. I said 120 something, didn't I? What did I say? 139. Oh, Lord, the Psalms is long. All right, and verses 23 and 24 say, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you and lead me along the path of everlasting life. All right, now let's go ahead and take it back over to where I was, which is Isaiah. And I was in the 40s. E40. All right. Because I got up to 45 last night with the people. So yeah, those are scriptures, y'all. Make sure y'all memorize those and know that. Okay, so here's the practical application. What you want to do is you want to ask yourself, like, what warning signs have I ignored? What boundaries do I keep negotiating? And what has God been trying to show me? And then you need to write down the area where you're most vulnerable, the story you keep telling yourself about it, and the truth that God may be revealing through it. So, and here's a prayer for conviction. God, help me respond to conviction before consequences force me to. Give me the courage to be honest about the areas where I've been compromising. Okay, so conviction isn't trying to shame you. It's God trying to save you. So comment below if there's ever been a moment that completely changed how you view the temptation itself. And next week, we'll be talking about how shame kept me stuck, but God wanted something better. And we'll talk about what happened, like, after I got scared, because the conviction really did push me closer to God. But, like, I wouldn't say that I felt shame. I was really just scared. Like, I was scared. Like, I wasn't ashamed of anything because I'm at the point in my life where I be living my life. Like, I do what I do, and I take full accountability. Like, I've experienced life with people who aren't accountable for their actions, and that's one way I'm not like that. I'm accountable for everything I do. So it's not really like too much shame involved unless we're talking about like my drinking escapades. And even with that, I'd be more ashamed of the fact that I hurt people and let people down versus like doing what I did, if that makes sense. It's more so of like the impact and not necessarily the action itself. But we're going to talk about how shame pushes you away from God and conviction pushes you toward God. And like my time that I spent kind of like confusing the two, because I have done that. And I might even get even more into like my drinking and stuff with this episode, because that's really where that conversation exists for me. And honestly, a lot of my moments and escapades have happened because I'm lit, not because that's just how I live my life. Like I said, like now I have a boo thing that I'm comfortable with, whether I'm sober or drunk. But even meeting him, it was because I was so drunk. Like, and that's literally it. So we gonna get into that. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Y'all be safe. Remember your boundaries and put the bottle down and put down the blunts, because it's fun and all, but it really do be getting you out your mind and you start doing stuff that you would not do. All right, have a good day. Bye.